So this allows me to number either all the lines or number all the spaces and get started. So let's try. Where is mine?
On the floor.
Rack. Okay. Let's try it. Let's just try a couple and then we'll get right into this. Okay. Fine. We'll go around the room. Start with you. If one were here on that line, then can you give me, I'm going to put one ledger line below, actually two ledger lines below and two above. Can you label all the lines for me? This would be 1, then what?
3,
Then 3,
5,
5,
7,
mm-hmm,
2,
mm-hmm,
4,
yep,
6,
yep. And going in the other direction?
6,
6,
4.
yes. Good. Okay, your turn. This time I want that space to be the number 1. So if this is 1, now what do I do?
The next space is 3,
The space above it. 3,
5,
5,
7,
7,
2,
2.
4.
Okay, and going down, the space would be,
6,
go that way, yes, 6,
4,
4, 2. And down there, 7. Right, so far? All right, your new will skip over to, to Richard. What if I have that right there as my number 1?
Be the same thing, line above is 3,
3,
line above that is 5,
5,
line above that is 7, line above that is 2,
and going
line
down.
below is 6, 4, 2, and 7.
Exactly. You see how easy that is? It's not. Is anyone confused about that at all? Are
You
you
use the 2 as a 9? Not melody.
The old system is dead. Long live the new system. I am not teaching Newtonian physics. I am teaching Einsteinian physics. There is no fixed anything. There is no God that sits in the middle of the universe in which everything rotates around him, as Newton said in the first paragraph of his Principia. It is what Einstein said in the first paragraph of his: we do not perceive that there is any point in the universe that is stationary, therefore all points in the universe are relative to all other points, and everything moves and dances. The modern point of music is that any line or any space can be where we start the numbering, or can be Do. And since Do is movable, this is what we call a movable Do system. And this is the coding, the number coding behind that movable Do system, also known as solfege, by the way. The name for it is solfege, except they use the ancient Italian language, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, which came from a Latin prayer. It's half Latin, half Italian, and nobody knows what it means anymore. So I'm translating it into English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Honestly, that's simple. Don't confuse yourself with the facts. What will happen is all those facts will you'll learn them from a different point of view, and suddenly they'll make sense where they didn't make sense. What you were just indoctrinated into those ideas before and have accepted them, but you don't know why you know what you know. Teachers just said, hey Bear, the first ledger line under that staff is C, but why is it C? Well, we just want it to be. Just know that, do as I say, not as I do, and don't ask me why. Now, I'll tell you why they don't want you to ask why. They don't know. That was hidden from, it was like 5 centuries, but it was 500 years before that somebody knew. And that's been forgotten. And now what we need to do is take a fresh look at it and ask ourselves, why am I doing this? And then the answers will come. This will help expose it. Okay, so now, here's the thing. The sharps and the flats, the way they work, you have a piece of paper there that has a bunch of different key signatures and then a bunch of different little dots. What we're going to do is, this gizmo here is called a sharp, and this gizmo here is called a flat. And by the way, these were not invented for music. Back at the time of the Gutenberg Bible, when the Gutenberg Bible was being created back in 1600, around Luther's time, they used to have what they call a typecase. And in the typecase, they had one little box that had a whole bunch of different A's in it. And it had capital A's and uppercase A's and lowercase A's, and it had Heliph A's, and it had Gregorian A's, and it had Gothic A's, and it had all kinds of A's of all sorts in it, okay? And they had these things called typecases, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then they had these things with dots, commas, umlauts, you know, all these other characters. And these characters were actually stolen from the printing business. What happened is, in the 11th century, everyone sang in the key of C, and when they started coming up with this notation system, everything was always written in the key of C, because there was only one key, and that was C. And everybody sang in the key of C. The first key that was invented in history, if we look back, was that F was actually the first key that was invented. And F required that they have one note, which was the fourth step of that scale, needed some little graphic device to let them know that it was different. And what they used to do is they actually used to notate music on a single line. And they used to notate the music with little squares, little square thingies that they made, you know, they were like little triangles. And if you look at old music from the 11th and 12th century, you see it's nothing but little triangles. And the reason for that is they used to use quills, or they would use a bamboo pen that had a flat head on it. And that flat head, if you just went like that, it would make a little square. So they just took the pen that was around at that time, the quill, and went, and that was a note. And it made a little triangle shape. Okay. And depending on how high it was above the line or how low it was below the line, they would guess the distance. They would guess the number, guess it. And what happened is all music was written with a single line and had none. So when they invented this new key called F, and they wanted to show people that this music was not written in the key of C, they wanted to put a symbol here in the front to let people know that. And since the note, the new note that came in that had this accidental was B, the B note was the note that did it, they took the uppercase B, used a lowercase b to create the flat. And then later on in history, people italicized that B to make it italic. And this is actually, the flat, as we call it, is actually, in anyone's typecase, a lowercase letter italicized B. So since B was the first letter that came up with this problem, they used a lowercase b and said that's a flat. So they used what was in their typecase so they could print music. And what they did is, if you want to tell someone that this music that you're writing is, you would put a flat in the front like that, and people automatically knew that this was in the key of F. And this is how key signatures actually started to form in later clefs, were an attempt to be able to move the line around to other places.